Good morning, community. Welcome to our first Monday of this October, of this last quarter of the year. I'm so glad that each of you are here and able to join us. We're always being better together with one another and with God. So thank you for being here. Thank you for always doing what you do, which is setting an atmosphere of love and acceptance among the queens. I see you all saying good morning to one another on today. So we bless God. We bless God, huh? I'm praying over us already and blessing him for the energy and the strength to keep going, to keep moving, to keep trusting, and to watch ourselves win in this last quarter of the year. Let's start off this way. Let's go ahead and start off this way. Let's do the roll call, y'all. Let's see where we're checking in from, making sure that we're still gathering our sisters from all over the place. So if you're signing in this morning in the Spring area, Conroe area, Navasota area, LaGrange area, Bryan, College Station, Ohio, Florida. Where's we have people joining us from Virginia, like wherever you're coming from on this morning. I'm speaking God's blessings on your street, in your state, in your room, at your home, speaking God's blessings wherever you are and believing him that you will see the manifest presence of his glory show up even the more in your life. So let us know where you're coming from. I'm checking in this morning from Spring. Those who were joining last week saw me checking in from Somerville, and I'll be doing some of that this week as well. But God is faithful and he is good, and I'm grateful that he has allowed each of us to live to see another day and to live to see the final quarter of this year, to live to see another month. We're believing him for manifested presence, for manifested glory. Yeah, I see y'all coming on in. North Carolina's in the room on today. Amen. Y'all find North Carolina and lean on it. To girl, come on in here. Corpus Christi is with us on this morning. Jersey Village. Like Tyler, Texas is here on this morning. Awesome. Spring is definitely here in the room on today. We got any College Station and Bryan folk in the room yet? We got anybody from San Antonio in the room yet? Y'all go ahead and call these queens on into the place. Invite them to join us as we prepare to go into God's word. I see them coming on in the room. It's good to have you. It's good to have you. I speak God's blessings over you wherever you're joining us from on this morning. It is so good to have you here. Many of us already know we've been having the whole year theme 2023, well and whole. Well and whole. And listen, particularly at this point in the year, the last quarter of the year, God is going into the crevices and into the details, into the nooks and into the crannies beneath the surface of our lives. Is there anybody like me who's welcoming God, who's saying, God, come on in? Come on in, have your way. Search my heart and try me and make me tried and true. I really want holiness and I really want righteousness. I really want to be pleasing and acceptable in your sight. Anybody else been feeling the growing pains of wanting to mature in God, where you feel God's conviction about things that you used to be able to do and not really have a ick about it, but now you feel God's convictions when you say too much or you move a certain way or your attitude isn't quite right. You feel the very grip of God on your mouth and you feel the very grip of God on your thoughts. He causes you to pull down thoughts that does not please him. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be encouraged and then to know that you are truly receiving the blessing of the Lord. Somebody hear that on this morning. I want you to be encouraged. If that has been your journey over the past few days, weeks, or months, when you just find that there's certain things that once used to settle okay with you, but now they disrupt your spirit, I want you to understand that you are receiving the blessing of the Lord because you are being loved by God, and whom God loves, he corrects. He causes to grow up. He causes to cast aside childish things. And in a Christian culture that often presents the blessings of the Lord as the new house and the new car and the new promotion and increase, and while those things are valid, there is something special about that intimate relationship that you have with the Lord that is causing you to prioritize being like him to be more important than getting something from him. Somebody receive that on this morning. Somebody say it with me. I'm growing in the Lord. He's searching my nooks and my crevices, my details, and he's causing me to mature, to become more like him. And I'm happy about it. Anybody happy about that on today? Happy that you're not the same. Will you say by faith with me? I'm not the same. I'm not who I used to be. I am not the same. I am growing in God. I am growing in God, becoming more like him. Y'all go ahead and receive that on this morning. Receive that you are blessed by the Lord, that you are loved by him, that you are growing. growing. And I see you joining in with me and saying, I'm growing in the Lord. I'm growing in the Lord. Let that give us as much enthusiasm, as much excitement as if we had just got a new house from the Lord. Let us be more concerned about being pleasing in his sight for his glory and for his name's sake. We're growing in the Lord, and you receive that as a blessing from him. We are going to go right on back to 1 Samuel and begin to get into this lesson. As we study in our fall series, Dear God, you've got mail. We've emphasized those faith siblings who believe God for things for a length of time. And I'm going to warm us right back up, rev us right back up right there by saying again, it was a long time coming. Yes, yes, ma'ams this morning. Yes, ma'ams. Yes, ma'ams. Some woman better receive strength from that on today. You better receive strength from that on today. When the enemy has been trying to talk to your mind and talk to your heart and talk to your spirit, he's tried to weigh you down with discouragement, tried to cause you to think it will never happen. These faith siblings that we are talking about, it took a long time coming, but somebody go ahead and say it with me one more time. But it came. It took a minute, but it did show up. It tarried for a time, but it did finally arrive. And so you can feel overlooked. You can feel like, dear God, have you forgotten about me? Have my prayer requests got lost on the back burner? Am I last on your list? But this is the thing. God is faithful. The one who is promised, who is faithful. And I'm going to stick beside him, y'all. I'm going to stick beside my God. I'm going to stick beside my God. Anybody else saying that? So y'all be encouraged, women. Like, let's take on strength today. Let's push through. Again, welcome to the community where we're being better together. You can go ahead and check in under the video, hit a like or love button. Let us quickly see your name that you're here. And as always, you can tag a queen friend and invite them to come on in the room with us. So starting right here, y'all, assembly is not my thing. Assembling things that come in those boxes and in those packages, that's just not my thing. Like, I'm working on a major project, and I will tell you that I will see all of these things that need to be done, and I will choose to do almost any of it before going to something that's in a box that need to be assembled. It just does not feel like it's my thing. And so I begin to dread it in my mind, dread it in my just kind of put it off. Anybody else like that? It's just not my thing. I don't know if I don't want to read those complicated, what I feel are complicated instructions that don't actually really work that good. And maybe I just don't want to read them. I don't know. But there's something about the assembly of stuff that's in a box that is just, it's just not my thing. But I'm working on a huge project at the center that many of you will get to see soon. And it's on a time, it's on a deadline. And so over the past week, I was working on a couple of things, and I kept putting that off and noticing it in my mind. Like, some of you may have that same sentiment. You may say, man, give me clean the house any day. But when it comes to cooking that meal, I don't really want to do it. Or let me cook the meal. I'll do that. But if it comes to that technology and that computer problem, that's not me. I don't solve that. And so that's what was happening. There were lots of things that needed to be done. And I have this big assembly thing that needs to happen. And I'm just putting it off and putting it off. And in my mind, literally, y'all, I hear myself saying, Lord, just send me help. Send me help. I need some help, y'all. And I just kept saying that and saying that in my mind. And I would feel the gentle nudging of our good daddy God. When I would say, I need help, he would say, you are your help. Somebody sit with that with me on this morning. And I would keep working on other things. And then I would say again in my mind, like, Lord, I just need some help. And I would feel the gentle nudging of the Lord again. And he would say, you are your help. Y'all, that ain't really the answer I wanted to hear. I wanted the Lord to have somebody just show up, or have the Lord just, I don't know what all I want the Lord to do. I just knew that I did not want to hear the Lord nudge back to me. You are your help. You are your help. You are your help, right? And so I said it again, like he needed to know, like, Lord, send me some help, because I'm just not seeing, because I feel maybe if I explain it to him, he would work with me. So I literally began to say, yeah, I said, because I got a lot to do and I don't have time to fiddle and fumble with that and mess up and waste a lot of time. And what is it called when you do the screw too much and it messes up? I don't have time to do all of that and just mess up. And I said, so I need some help. And I heard him say again, you are your help. You are your help. Somebody needs to receive that on today. I'm trying to say that real to you, real gentle and real calm, because you may find yourself in a similar situation. And on today, we're going to see this with our faith sibling who's waiting on God. Somebody say to say this to yourself: I am my help. Some of you may be finding yourself too in situations where it feels overwhelming and it feels too big and it feels too huge. Hear that on today. You are your help. And so here is the scenario then, how that worked out. So, y'all, I had to talk myself down. I had to talk myself down out of the emotion that can feel overwhelmed. I had to talk myself down. And instead of looking at the entire package, I should probably present this part on Wellness Wednesday, but instead of looking at the entire package, I had to just talk myself down out of feeling overwhelmed and just take it step by step. And yes, it probably took me longer. And yes, I probably did it slower. And I had to read the instructions and look at the pictures. Read the instruction and look at the pictures several times. But if you were to come to the center today, that thing that was in the box is assembled. And when I said to the Lord, I need help, he nudged me and said, you are your help. Even in our deficit, somebody received that on today. Even when we feel as if we fall short, as if there's something that we have to work out in our own lives, something that's so imperfect about what we bring to the table, even in the midst of that, we have an answer. Picking up from where we left off, for those of you who were joining us last week, we were at 1 Samuel 25, verse number 1. And we see the scenario where David is in grief, where David has lost a mentor, the person who spoke over his life. And I know somebody's processing, but we're studying Abigale. We are. But I need you to back it up into the story with me to really see how the Lord, our good daddy God, was already setting up Abigale, even in her deficit, to be the answer to what David needed. So David is in grief. And we learned last week that Abigale means joy. Y'all remember that? David is in grief, going through a tumultuous time, has been named and anointed and called to be the next king, but does not see his route to the throne. And he's arising out of grief and going into the wilderness of Paran. We talked about all of that. Y'all got to go back and listen to it. He's filled with grief. And up the road, he has no idea that God has set up Abigale. But likewise, Abigale has no awareness that God has set up David. Abigale's name means joy. Joy is the exact answer, the exact opposite, the exact pushback in the kingdom realm against grief. So Abigale, in the very makeup of who she is, the very essence of her embodiment, she is the answer to what David would need. And as I was studying that nugget again, the Lord wanted me to remind some woman who's listening on today, the very essence of who you are is the answer to what someone needs. The very makeup, the very way of being that you are, it is the answer to what someone needs. What does that actually look like? Like for some of you who may find that you have a more quiet spirit, you have a slower pace, a different type of cadence, and you may find yourself kind of almost wishing you were that girl, that adventurous girl, that take on life but with a fire type of person, and you don't even realize and embrace that your way of being, your calm spirit, your peace and your tranquility, it is the very answer that someone needs. For someone who's already had a life that is full with trauma and with chaos and drama, your peaceful spirit, your calm demeanor is the very answer to what they need. And the enemy can cause you to sell yourself short, to feel like, well, I'm not enough. I'm not vibrant enough. I'm not exuberant enough. I don't do this enough. I'm not loud enough, right? The enemy can cause you to second guess the essence of who you are, as if somehow your way of being is not the answer. Get this, you are the perfect answer to some problem, being the very essence of how God created you to be, and vice versa. For that woman who is adventurous, who can be a bit extravagant, or who can be a bit extroverted, and you find yourself saying, maybe I need to kind of temper it down and not be so much and not do so much, and the enemy is almost causing you to believe that you're just too much, you require too much, you're too high maintenance. I want you to know that the very essence of who you are is the answer to somebody's needs. Somebody received that on this morning. The very essence of how I am is the answer to somebody's need. And what my error may be is that I've been trying to be the answer in the wrong situation or to the wrong person, but ain't nothing wrong with me. Y'all hear me on this morning. Where I perhaps have fallen short, where I perhaps have not measured up, is that I've been trying to give my answer to the wrong problem. I am not the answer to everybody's problem, but I am the answer to somebody's problem. And that's where the matchup has to come. So just like with myself, we find that Abigail is going to be the match. She's going to be the answer to what David needs. Now, yes, she was spending her time with Nabal, but Nabal was foolish. The Bible describes Abigail as a woman of wisdom and understanding. Honey, a person of wisdom and understanding will never be the answer to a fool. They'll never meet up with what that fool is accepting, what that foolish behavior is accepting, because your understanding and your wisdom. So some of us have been detracting from ourselves, feeling like I can't ever fix this thing that I'm up against, or this thing that I'm in, or this broken relationship with a family member, or this situation where the person can't seem to get their finances together. I'm trying to be the answer, but perhaps it's not that you're the wrong answer. You're just not the answer for the problem that you've been trying to solve. The very essence of who you are is the answer to somebody's need. Everybody receive that on this morning and say it again. I am the answer. Honey, you're not going to make me second guess myself and start doubting myself just because you can't receive the value that I bring to the table. I'm speaking to a woman's spirit on today. You're not going to cause me to keep looking at myself and figuring out what's wrong with me and what doesn't work about me and what's not good enough and what doesn't measure up. If you've ever been in a situation that makes you feel like that, then you understand what I'm talking about. But Abigail was the help, y'all. I had to get to that place for myself, even with that assembly stuff. I am the help. I am the help. And you're not going to talk me out of knowing and understanding the value and the work that I bring to the table. If you'll join me right now, then we're going to keep jogging on. We're going to keep jogging on down to verse number 14. If you'll meet me right there at 1 Samuel 25, verse number 14, I'm going to have you highlight this part of the scripture. It says, now one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, look, David sent messengers from the wilderness to greet our master, and he reviled them. Now one of the young men told who? Everybody circle that. Now one of the young men told who? Y'all circle that. Now one of the young men told who? They told Abigail. If you remember in this space that we've already talked about, where Nabal reviles David's young men. He reviles David's young men, and David says, okay, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to handle this by sun up tomorrow. You and every man that is associated with you will be dead. Now, when that crisis and that trauma came, that drama came, y'all get that? This life and death moment came. Who was sought after for the answer? Who was sought after for the answer? It says, now one young man, honey, I need y'all to get all of these nuggets. Now one young man. It does not say that the whole crowd. It doesn't say that everybody was in consensus. Y'all got to get that, because so many times we're waiting for the crowd. We're waiting for the folk to see and to value us. Just one. It says, now one young man went and told Abigail. See, he saw her as the answer. He saw her as the resource. He saw her as a benefit. Some of you are going to miss out on your moment waiting for a whole lot of folk to line up, for a whole lot of people to like your posts and love your posts, for a whole lot of people to show up at whatever it is that you're putting on, for a whole lot of people to try your recipe or try your baked goods or try your catering company or read your book. Some of you are going to sell yourself short, waiting on the crowd to finally show up, waiting on a lot of endorsements for a lot of people. Somebody say, God, deliver me from all of that. Deliver me from waiting on confirmation and validation from a whole lot of folk before I shoot my shot, y'all. I'm talking personal. It's probably why I can be so passionate about it. Waiting for somebody to give me my chance, waiting for somebody to give me opportunities to be on the platform, waiting for somebody to co-sign that I'm gifted and that I'm called. Some of you are going to miss your moment waiting on the crowd, waiting on a group of folk to co-sign and confirm what God has already spoken to you. Somebody say, God, deliver me. Like I'm teaching y'all. Come on in the room. Come on in the room, because God is speaking to gifts in this last quarter of the year. He's challenging you to rise up and come on and be who he's called you to be. Quit waiting on people to co-sign what your good daddy God has already said about who you are. Somebody's saying that with me. God, deliver me from the need for confirmation from from folk on stuff that you've already spoke into my spirit. Deliver me from those areas in my childhood, in my teenage years when I was not, because it's a valid need, y'all, when I was not affirmed, when I was not told who I could be and what I would be. Help me, heal me in the crevices and in the details and in the nuances of that stuff in my foundation that still has cracks. And so even as a grown woman, I find myself hesitating, and I find myself looking around, and I find myself wanting to grab somebody else's hand and get them to go with me. Somebody in the room on today needs to say, it's enough. I am enough. What God has said is enough. And so this one young man, just one, y'all, give me one shot. Somebody say that with me. Give me one chance. Give me one breakthrough. Give me one open door. Give me one opportunity. Give me my moment. Give me one moment. Y'all know I used to say, put me in the game and let me play. Put me in the game and let me play. Somebody better receive that on this morning. I'm enough. Give me one chance. Give me one moment. Give me one opportunity. Let me walk through just one door. Just give me one. It took one young man to get to Abigale. Just one. Just one. I don't know how many men were out on the field and how many men saw this moment of chaos and how many men saw this moment of trauma and how many men could have gone and said, do you want the job? Do you want the promotion? Do you want the opportunity? It didn't matter. It just took one. It just took one. Y'all receive that in your spirit on this morning. Give me one chance to walk through. So this one man goes to Abigale. Let's get back to the word. This one man goes to Abigale. And he says to Abigale, now one young man told Abigale, Nabal's wife, saying, look, David sent messengers from the wilderness to greet our master, and he reviled them. But the men were very good to us. Y'all listen how he's talking to Abigale. He's talking to Abigale like, Abigale, you got good sense, because I'm trying to tell you what happened. Somebody say that with me. I got good sense. I got good understanding. I know you've tried to gaslight me and make me feel like I can't get my thoughts together. Somebody better hear me. And I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm talking to you on this morning. Listen, I know you've tried to gaslight me and you've tried to coach me into second guessing myself and made me almost question if I can make good decisions. But I got good sense. Somebody come on back and push in the spirit realm and say, I got good sense. I got good sense. I know you try to act like what I'm explaining don't make no sense. And when I call you out and hold you accountable, you act like I'm being worse and like I'm the one with the issue and I'm the one that can't hardly understand, but I got good sense. Somebody better say it with me. So he goes to Abigale and he says, but the men were very good to us and we were not hurt. See, he's appealing to Abigale's good sense. He's approaching her like, you know, when things are right and when things are wrong. I got good sense. And we were not hurt, nor did we miss anything as long as we were accompanied by them. When we were in the fields, they were a well to us, both by night and day, all the time. We were with them, keeping the sheep. They were good to us, Abigale. See, he's appealing. He's appealing to her common sense, to her ability to make a decision. And here's the part where everybody better reach up and grab this. He says, now therefore, know and consider what you will do. For harm is determined against our master and against all of his household. That means you too, Abigale, and the kids and us at the service, everybody. For he is such a scoundrel that one can't even talk to him. This woman was married to a foolish man. This man has made a decision that is about to be detrimental to his entire household. And the servant who has watched Nabal and Abigale, has watched Nabal and Abigale. When there's detriment about to come to the entire household, in a cultural age when women were not even approached for wisdom and insight, because the servant who has been a part of their household has observed the behavior of what is deemed culturally appropriate to do, and then what is deemed character appropriate to do. To choose Nabal would be culturally appropriate. To go to him because he's the man with the this and the this and the this and the this. To go to him would be the culturally appropriate response. But because of what the servant has observed, he goes to the character appropriate response, which is Abigale. Y'all, somebody is watching your life. And while the rules say and expectations say, and what normally would have happened says, choose this person over here, because they have watched how you operate. They have watched your character. They have watched how you move. They are about to flip the script and choose you. It may not make any sense to the arena that you are in, to the place of employment that you are in, to the ministry that you are in, to the family that you are in. But God has already ordained inexplicable favor and choosings over your life because of your character, because of your ability to make right decisions and sound decisions. You will not even be able to explain why you are being chosen, but people are watching your life even right now, and you have the solution to what they need. You have the solution. You are your help. You are the help. You are well able to give insight and wisdom and direction and next steps in the scenario that you're in, and it is going to rescue. You're going to have the answer that will rescue a company, that will rescue a ministry, that will rescue a family, that will rescue a household. You are the help. Somebody receive that on today. I am the help. Say it with me. I am the help. So while the enemy causes us to look at what we lack, to look at what we don't think we're good at. Remember me in the beginning of the story, to look at what seems to be a fumble and a hard place for us. God sees you as a solution. Somebody say that with me again. I am the help. You better receive it. I am the help. And you're not the help in your perfected state. Y'all hear me? I'm coming to the closure. You're not the help in your perfected state. See, Abigail's still married to someone who's a fool. Abigail is still married to a fool. Nothing about her circumstance has changed, but she has not allowed the environment, the circumstance, the connection to also become her issue. She's in the midst of stuff. And I'm saying that to some of you today who keep looking at where you are and what you don't have and where you fall short and where there is lack. And that's how you see you. But for the folk who are watching, my God, you sitting over here talking about, well, you know what? I don't even know what I have to give. I'm going through a divorce, or I'm separated, or I don't have any money, or I haven't had a job, I don't have a business. And somebody else is looking at that same situation and saying, my God, I wish I had the strength that she had. I wish I understood how to make $2 stretch like she got $2 stretching. I wish I understood how to ride all the way to work on empty and make it. I wish I understood how to get up out of my bed with depression in my heart when I watch all that's not working in her life and I still see how she's moving and navigating. My God, I wish I had on the inside of me what she has. Yes, on the external, you might not have everything that you desire to have, but on the inside of you, sis, somebody say it to a sis, jog on under her name and tell her, on the inside of you, sis, I'm not talking about your external stuff. I'm not talking about the things that people can see. On the inside of you, sis, you have strength. On the inside of you, sis, you got some get up and go. On the inside of you, sis, you got some brush it off. On the inside of you, sis, you got some I will not be moved. On the inside of you, if I could bottle up what was on the inside of you and give it to folk, y'all are the answer to what somebody needs. I don't even need to know all of your testimonies, but just the fact, y'all think about it, just the fact that you showed up in October, sis, you are the help. With the year that you've had, with the things that you've gone through, you're still here. You're still believing in God. You're still waking up, getting on a Bible study. Sis, you got faith. You got belief. You got some stick-to-itness. You have some commitment. You have some hold on tight on the inside of you. You better see who you are. You may say, sis, I can't teach you right now how to go get a mansion, but I can teach you how to dry the tears from your eyes and get on up. Or I can teach you how to get on up with tears in your eyes. Sis, I can teach you how to make $1 buy a whole lot of stuff. Like, you got to see that you are the help. You are the help. You are what somebody needs. I got to wrap it up. So we're going to put a pin right there because there's so much more that I can say about that. But you are the help. Even with the deficit, even with something not quite right, not quite how you desire it, you're still the source. You're still a resource. You're still the answer. You're still the blessing. You're a whole blessing. I come against every word that has been spoken over your life, whether it was from childhood, teenage years, or even young adult, even into now. I come against in the spiritual realm every word that has been come against you, spoken over your life, that has chipped away at your view of how you see you. And everything that's in your environment, in your atmosphere, that's in your life that causes you to second guess the value of what you bring to the table. I remind you today that you're enough. I remind you today that in a world that highlights flaws and what's not right and what's not working, I remind you that you are enough. And stand on up and get ready to pray. I remind you that you're enough, that you're more than enough, that the faithful one has promised, and you are enough. Somebody say that with me. You're enough. Somebody say that with me. Go ahead and get under another sister's name and just say, you're enough. You're enough, sis. You're enough. You're enough. You're enough, sis. You're enough. I come against the very, look, what does the Bible say? Spiritual hosts of wickedness that gather in the elements, in the heavens, to plot against even the voices in our own heads. I remind you that you are enough. You're enough. So God, I thank you. Here's our takeaway for today. Here's our takeaway. We're going to just do this one thing. We're going to carry ourselves like we're enough. We're going to carry ourselves today like we're enough. As I go into meetings, even on this morning, as you get ready to go into your day, you're not moving like you're a deficit. You're moving like you're enough, like you're a good wife and you're a good mother. You're a good teacher. You're a good principal. You're a good doctor. You're a good chef. You're a good employee. You're a good boss. You're enough. If we just begin to allow every thought that's not aligned with God to be pulled down and for us to elevate what he says about who we are enough. God, I thank you for the queens. I thank you that you bless each of us as we go throughout this day. I thank you that you hold us close and you whisper your words like you did to me when I felt as if I just could not tackle it, God. And I kept reaching to you and saying, I need help. And in my mind, that help was from someone else. It was an external source. But you reminded me that I am my help, that I am enough. And yes, it took me longer and I had to slow down and all of that, but it's done. May you do that today for each of the queens. May you remind them in every circumstance. May you talk them back off of the ledge of being overwhelmed or second guessing and doubting. May they really know that they're enough. And we give you praise, we give you honor, and we give you glory for that. In Jesus' name. I'll see y'all right back here in the morning, okay? See you right back here. Y'all, as always, I honor the greatness that's on the inside of you. Bye-bye.